The White Queen has arrived. This is Nanmu's version of the female Velociraptor from Jurassic Park 3. Now, after I picked up the male raptor from Nanmu, I was so blown away by that figure, I had to go and pick up the female version of this raptor. So, we'll take a quick look at the box. It is essentially the same sort of design as the male raptor. You got some artwork of the female raptor. I'm not really sure if I like this that much. I prefer the look of the artwork on the male raptor, but this one doesn't look as nice to me. But who knows, maybe they'll change that in the future. And a quick look at the box, you have the same picture there on the back. And this does open up, so you can have a look at the figure there, which does look really cool. Now, let's get this one opened up. So, packaging exactly the same as the male raptor. So, you got the figure there, the tail comes separately, and you got a display stand to support the figure. So, the tail just comes detached on the figure, so you just got to pop it in place here with the peggies. I would recommend heating this up, but I'm just gonna try and fit it on without taking my own advice. That seems to have fitted on fairly well. So now that I've got the figure out of the box, we will take a closer look at the raptor. We'll take a closer look at the figure here, so you can see compared to the male, there are some differences here on the head. The shape of the head is actually the same, but it's just missing the quills. Instead, you do have these raised scales here on the head, which you don't have on the male. These would actually be where the quills are, but the initial head shape is exactly the same, and we see the same amount of detail here as well. In terms of range, the head can move up pretty far, look down pretty far as well, and the jaw is articulated. Some nice detail in the mouth as well. Mine does have a slight paint defect here, a little bit of red that's come through here. Just a bit of a shame, but I'll see if I can get that off. And as we move down the figure, you can see the pattern on the body is different from the male. Of course, the male is more darker in tone, and you don't have the same pattern on the male, which is nice to see. As we look at the arms, you do have some striping there. There is a bend here at the elbow, so you can move that up and down, and actually goes a bit back as well. You do have movement in the wrist also. That can bend up, down, side to side. These seem to be a slightly lighter wash on these hands compared to the male. And as we move down the legs, you can kick them out. There's a bend here at the knee. My figure is a bit stiff, which is good to see. You don't want any loose joints. There is also movement here at the foot. Can move down. And of course, you've got the claw on the foot here, which can move up and down. The paint seems to be a bit inconsistent here on the foot. You can see it's got a very, very almost pale looking wash here. It transitions into a much darker wash here on the foot. It doesn't really look that great. I would have liked if they had continued that along the foot here. As we move on to the tail, this is on a bendy wire, so you can position that into any sort of position you'd want, really. So that's really good for posing. Just looking at the figure overall, the head does seem really light compared to the rest of the body. The rest of the body's got this kind of greenish hue to it. Don't know if it's being picked up on the camera, but from about the neck here till this part here, got that greenish hue to it, where it's not present on this part of the tail or this part of the head. Now, it doesn't look as bad in real life. You can hardly tell, but I think on the camera it's picking up a lot more. But detail-wise, this is amazing. Same as the male raptor. Great amounts of detail here. Really do love the pattern on this. And again, exactly like the female raptor from the film. We'll bring in the male raptor and we'll compare them together. Here we have both the raptors here together as you'd want to display them. So you can see the initial sculpt is the same, only differences are sculpt wise is the head on the figure. Male's got the quills, whereas the female does not. And obviously differences from that are the paint scheme on the figures. And I have to say that both amazing paint job, exactly like you see in the film. These are just amazing figures. When I think of Jurassic Park figures, this is what I imagine in my mind. Figures of the raptors, exactly how they look in the film, brought to life, posable, so you can put them into any sort of position you want. They just look amazing together. So we'll have a look at some of the differences here. So you can see there is difference in the paint on the claws here. The red on the male is a lot darker, whereas on the female it's a lot lighter in terms of colour. But apart from that, the main colour schemes on both of these are completely different. Man, I have to say they do look amazing together. So in the movie, the female was the alpha of the pack, so she was the one in charge. And I had to pick her up after getting the male raptor here. I have to say they look amazing together. So if you've got one of them, you definitely got to pick up the other. And in terms of size, obviously they're the same sculpt, so they're going to be exactly the same size. But depending on how you've got them posed up, they can look slightly different in terms of height, but it's all down to posing and how you want them to look. I have to say, I'm so happy with these figures. Looking at the support stand here, it's the same that you get with the Blood Knight, but this one is a lot more solid. It's not falling apart like the other stand. It seemed to just be in pieces, which I'm happy with. This one is solid. I think this is a amazing figure to have. The sculpt, the colours, it's just amazing. Exactly like the female raptors you see from Jurassic Park 3. I am really blown away with the quality and posability of these figures that Nanmu have released. Both these raptors are amazing and a must-have for any Jurassic Park fan. I really, really love these figures. Since I got the Blood Knight, I knew that I had to get the female raptor. Posability is good, sculpt's good, colours are really good, amazing amounts of detail. There's no figure out there like these, and again, really have to praise Nanmu for what they've done with these figures. They're amazing. With this being Nanmu's first attempt at articulated dinosaur figures, I think they've done a really solid job here. Now, that's not to say there aren't things that I would improve with this. Mainly for both figures, I would like to see either articulated hands or an extra set of hands that we can swap out. With this figure specifically, I would like to see some better paintwork or more consistent paintwork on the figure. For example, on the feet, the top half has a much lighter wash, and then it just suddenly transitions into a much darker, deeper red, which does look a bit weird if you look at it from the front, but not so bad from the side or the back. They could have just carried on that paint that they applied to the top part of the the leg there, just carried that on to the foot, which would have made a lot of difference with how you see the foot here, and didn't won't make it stand out as much. And I would like to see a more consistent color with the body of the figure. The main body has that greenish tint to it, whereas the head doesn't, and the part of the tail that's on the bendy wire doesn't have that greenish tint to it. Would be better if they were more consistent with that. With that being said, I still think this is a solid figure to have. It brings back a lot of memories for me because I used to play Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, and this is the skin that they use for the raptors in that game, so it brings back a lot of memories for me. So I do like this sculpt and this pattern and color scheme that they've gone for, exactly like the Jurassic Park 3 raptors. Also, with the sculpt on these raptors, Nanmu are improving these with their newer releases when they do eventually come out. I do love these posable figures. I feel like as a collector, this is something that I've always wanted. A figure of this quality and this amount of articulation is just really, really good to have. So Nanmu have put up some pictures of their new Carnotaurus that they're going to be releasing. There's two versions of the Carnotaurus. You have the red double horns or the broken horn demon, which both look amazing. I'm really excited to see what more figures Nanmu has ready to be released for us. This is exactly what I'd want from Jurassic Park figures. These figures are what we should have been getting with the Mattel lines, the Amber collection and Hammond collection. But I am glad that Nanmu is giving us what we want and giving us these amazing figures straight out of the movie. These sculpts are amazing, and the two Carnotaurus figures that are going to be released do also look amazing. Cannot wait to get those. Once I do get those figures, I will be doing a review and comparison. So yeah, overall, I would recommend both of these figures to any Jurassic Park fan or any fan who loves dinosaurs. If you love dinosaurs, I'm sure you're a Jurassic Park fan as well. I will include some pictures here so you guys can see some of the pictures I've taken of these figures, which again look amazing. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you.